Facebook Live event from PHLV Radio.
Just like a friend from back home.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.
PHLV Radio.
The Filipino American Cancer Care now brings you On the Air with FACC. Tributes and support to those impacted by cancer. On the Air with FACC. The Filipino American Cancer Care on PHLV Radio.
Yes, the Filipino American Cancer Care on PHLV Radio. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat dito sa Amerika. Naku, parang kalahati yata. I have to fix this. Ayan. Kasi naka-virtual background ako eh. Tingnan ko nga, mahaba yung buhok ko eh. Hindi yan, hindi yan kalahati. Okay, ganyan yan eh. Teka, ayan. Okay. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, good morning sa inyo dyan sa Pilipinas. This is Josie Moralidad Zayman from the Filipino American Cancer Care. It's Friday, March 31, 2023. And remember, tomorrow is April 1st. Sabi nga nila, April Fool's Day. So, mag-ingat ha? Mag-ingat kayo bukas. Anyhow, again, we would like to acknowledge our invisible station manager from PHLV Radio Las Vegas, Mr. Johan. At syempre, makakasama ko, medyo late lang kasi he's driving right now from Washington, D.C. Pauwi ng Maryland, ha? We believe that from the capital of the USA, going to another state, si Emerich. So, he will be joining us. Pero sabi niya, medyo malilate lang daw siya. And, of course, I would like to announce some upcoming activities ng Filipino American Cancer Care. First, on June 9, 2023, mark your calendar. Friday, 6 o'clock in the evening, dito po sa Acton Performing Arts, sa Acton High School in Fairfax, Virginia, we are going to have the Rio Brothers concert. It's a fundraising concert that will benefit FACC, Cancer Patient Beneficiaries. Alam nyo, sila yung replika ng Beatles, Bee Gees, 50s, 1950s, and 1970s songs. Ako mismo nakita ko sila kung paano mag-perform. So, they are coming here in the Washington, D.C. area on June 9, Acton High School sa number, Tingnan natin. Yung address, 2900 Southern Road, Vienna, Virginia, 22181. Yung tickets po namin, napakamura. It's very cheap, ha? And think about it. We have cancer patient beneficiaries. VIP, of course, with photo opportunity is $98, $68, and $48. And then, yung sponsorship fee po namin is $800, $500, and $300. So, please call me or you can message me on Facebook or kung saan nyo nakikita yung pangalan ko. But anyway, we will try our very best. Nandito po ang ganda ngayon ng ng sales ng tickets namin. And I would like to acknowledge yung tulong ng mga kaibigan natin, ng mga supporters ng Filipino American Cancer Care. First, I would like to acknowledge Miss Rita Manalo Hammond. Pwede kayong kumuha ng ticket sa kanya. And si Mr. Eugene Banyes. At syempre, yung mga officers, board of directors, advisors, and ambassadors ng Filipino American Cancer Care. Pwede kayong magtanong sa kanila ng ticket. Pero yung ticket nandito sa akin, ha? Just wanna make sure na talagang magkakaroon tayo ng payment dito kasi imagine nyo naman, $1,000 yung aming ibibigay. Hindi lang sa isang tao, ha? And I'm hoping we can give more, hindi lang 15, 20, kasi ang dami talaga. Sabi ko nga, walang natitira sa FACC, to be honest with you, kasi lahat yan, binibigay namin. At maliit man na bagay yan para sa ibang tao. Pero again, hindi naman sa, I'm trying to undermine as our government in the Philippines, no? Pero hindi madali sa kanilang magbigay ng $1,000. I don't think they even give $1,000 to cancer beneficiaries, no? But anyway, it's a big deal. It makes a big difference in the treatments. And not only that, para sa isang cancer patient who is fighting for his life and time on this earth. And may isa pa po tayong activity this coming October 28, 2023, Marriott Fairview in Falls Church. Ngayon, kung gusto nyong maging modelo, and yung pagrampa po sa amin sa FACC, I'm sure kung pwede lang, I hope one day, makita ko itong aming invisible na station manager na si Johan, na, I hope he's going to walk on the runway. Kasi yun siya, may pagka-Chinese. I hope he will join us for our fashion show event on October 28. Meron tayong mga bata, meron tayong mga parents, at meron ding mga grandparents. And if you want to be a model, please reach out to FACC or, message me on Facebook or email cancercare2022 facc@gmail.com. Now, it's already 9:08 in the evening. Wala pa yung aking partner. But, meron tayong bisita. Teka ha, buksan ko yung pintuan. O sige, mag-knock-knock na yung bisita. Knock-knock! Ay, yan na siya. Sandali ha. Okay. Ayan na, binuksan ko na yung pintuan. Good evening! And this evening, ladies and gentlemen, yung ating bisita, isa po siyang cancer survivor. Let me see this one. She shines with positive, vibrant energy and magnetizes the audience wherever she speaks, hosts, or performs. She connects with audience so magnificently with her wit, humor, and gift of gab. Wow! Sana ganyan din ako. I don't think so. She is a motivational speaker, TV podcast, concert host, and a talented performer who easily infuses a unique flavor to any event. Oh, baka siya? Stand-up comedian. I hope. Are you? I think so. Now, her presence adds value to shows, fundraisers, live or virtual summits, and private parties, and make them indelible. She helped raise thousands of dollars at fundraising events of prestigious organizations like American Cancer Society and has hosted concerts at the Town Hall in New York City, Resorts World Casino, big hotels, and other exciting venues. She effervescent spirit sparks her effervescent spirit sparks strong emotions and fantastic memories long after are over. She is most luminous on stage. Wow. As a motivational edutainer. She inspires, educates, and entertains. And her genius is on resilience, a compelling topic she speaks about and has written on in several Amazon best-selling books she has co-authored. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on our radio show On the Air with FACC, breast cancer survivor, Furly Almonte. Hi, Furly!
Hello, hello, hello. Ang ganda naman ng introduction mo sa akin. Nakadapo
Kung ano
akong
yan?
damdamin.
Pwede ko pang, pwede ko pang i-dramatize yan.
You read it so beautifully. Thank you very much. I'm very humbled and I'm very thrilled to be here.
Naku, binasa ko yung ano mo, yung bio mo, ha? Pero hindi ko nabasa yung ano pa, yung journey mo. Now, I'm very excited to know na marunong ka pa lang. And I'm very excited also to hear na marunong ka pa lang kumanta. When did you start singing?
Well, actually, alam mo na, tayong mga Pilipino, mahilig kumanta. You know, as a kid, you know, my mother always encourages us to join glee clubs, yung mga choir, ganyan. But really like more professionally and as a solo performer, it's really more like, I would say within the last 5 to 10 years lang. Kasi it's almost like by accident that I am, you know, that I've been performing also on stages. Kasi yung, for the most part, kasi motivational speaker nga ako, and I also do trainings on image, confidence, resilience, and public speaking. But at the same time, I realized that if you use music as part of your training, mas nakakaaliw. And so when it becomes a lot more entertaining, it becomes a lot more engaging. Sabi nga, di ba nila, if it ain't fun, it's not going to get done. And so I like to be able to infuse music because it awakens emotions in many of us. And so yun, doon ang pautay-utay, I would say from childhood, tapos hindi naman yun talaga ang career ko, no? But the whole port, alam mo ko minsan ang siguro ang plano ng Diyos para sa atin, di ba? At some point nag-i-evolve, umiiba. And then at some point, I actually love that I'm able now to not only motivate in speaking, but also inspire through music because, you know, it's not so much so just the performance. I'm also a lyricist. Besides, alam mo kasi pag author ka, parang ang mind mo hindi nag-shut down.
Teka muna, ano ba talaga ang background mo? Writer? Ano ba talaga?
Marami. Actually,
Jill of all trades.
I guess so. Alam mo, ang masasabi ko is, I feel like I was blessed by the Lord with many talents and multi-passionate and multi-talented in a way. And I'm very grateful for all of those blessings. And I feel
Ito ba yung naging passport mo sa pag-immigrate dito sa Amerika? Yung talents mo?
No. Actually, well, I came here 40 years ago, and my background actually back in the Philippines is in business. I used to work at the Central Bank of the Philippines, and I do public relations. Ako yung lagi nag-MC. Siguro I actually love the stage. So ako lagi nag-MC ng mga iba-ibang concerts doon at saka mga, you know, whatever presentation or mga special events, so to speak. And at the same time, yung pa-moonlight sa mga, alam mo yun, sa mga group singing, mga clubs, ganyan. Tapos, I came to the States, and of course, you know, I got married, and, you know, like, but back, it's so funny, ang layo ng journey ko. So, because from business, I actually started also going to school for mass communications, but I did not complete that in UP because I was already coming to the US. But anyway, ay pagdating naman dito sa US, alam mo naman tayong mga Pilipino, ay isang mentality natin, you have to be in healthcare because it's going to bring you a steady stream of income, right? So, nag-aral ako to become a respiratory therapist. And so, at some point in my life, I was actually a respiratory therapist. And unfortunately, you know, as much as I love doing pulmonary function testing and all that, I was exposed to an occupational hazard that left me with a 40% permanent lung damage. And so, I was disabled for over 10 years. This is going back probably 18 years ago.
How long did you work as a respiratory therapist?
I worked as a respiratory therapist probably for only about 5 to 7 years.
Mhm.
And then after that, obviously I was disabled. And then when I went back to work, I ended up going into pharmaceutical sales.
Mhm.
And in pharmaceutical sales, I began to specialize in respiratory portfolio.
Okay.
So, andyan na yung para sa asthma, sa allergy, at saka anti-infective, mga antibiotics. But anything that has to do with asthma and allergy. And, like, I made good living doing that. I enjoyed it to a certain degree. Pero alam mo, kung minsan iba talaga yung pag may iba ang passion mo eh. Kasi di ba pag ang passion mo talaga is really to be able to inspire, to be able to help people transform not only in the way they look, but alam mo kasi di ba, Josie, ang mindset ng tao is very, very, very powerful.
Mhm.
Pag wala sa loob mo, wala sa pag-iisip mo, at wala sa diwa mo, ang lalim nun diwa. It's very hard for you to really get into something to make an impact. Well, because of my different disabilities, that I've had in the past, and also at the same time from the different tragedies that I've been through in life, ang cancer actually for me is, like my own journey with being a cancer victor, not just a survivor, but a victor. It did not start just now, because ang journey ko through cancer it started with when my mother died of ovarian cancer about 28 years ago. And then 6 months after that, my father passed on with lung cancer. And
Okay.
of course, meron din akong pinsan that she was a nurse, and she also died of breast cancer. This is many years ago. And in the same way, it awakened a part of me that wants to help people going through cancer.
Okay.
Ganon. So, kaya nga, sabi ko, I mean, I'm very thrilled to have met you nung umattend ako nung fashion
Was
show.
that your first time to attend a Filipino community event na tungkol sa cancer?
Yes, actually, alam mo, Josie, I am very impressed with what you're doing. I was listening into all the presentations that was being shared at that moment. I've never heard of Filipino American Cancer Care
Yes.
until probably a week before the event.
Okay.
And sabi ko, my goodness, tinutulungan nyo not only, like Filipinos, but even, other victims, not victims, actually, that's not a other patients that are going through that same struggle.
Okay.
I had so much respect for you, because I could tell from just watching you go to the video, so dun pag-uwi mo ng Pilipinas, and being able to deliver to several patients $1,000 each, and be able to help them pay for medical expenses, or even, say for example, hindi lang medical expenses, but even their own, yung mga cost of living, di ba? Kasi if you're not able to work, how are you going to be able to even put food on the table?
Okay.
Ang laking tulong nun, malaking tulong. And sabi ko, and it takes somebody with a very big heart to be able to open yourself to helping those people in grave need. And kasi very vulnerable tayo when you go through cancer, right?
Of course.
Maraming sumasagi sa isip natin, natatakot tayo. Andiyan, nag-aalala tayo sa pamilya natin, saan kukuha ng yung pambayad sa mga treatments, right? Sa atin, malaki din siyempre ang conversion. So, $1,000 per patient is a very big deal. Malaking tulong yon. So, yung mga taong nag-participate sa fundraiser dun sa fashion show with Carl Andrada, and also all of those people, not only who sponsored, but who actually purchased tickets, right? Tapos yung
Everybody, lahat, no? It was like a great teamwork. So what can you say about the whole production and, the presentation?
very impressive. very, very impressive. Like first of all, yung mga creations, no, sabi ko talaga mga Pilipino talaga very very talented. And it takes a village to put together an event like that.
Of course.
Diba? yung mga volunteers, yung mga artists, yung mga the audiovisual people.
And can you believe yung cousin ko, si Tata Habana, yung soprano? Can you believe, di ba
pinsan mo
kumanta
pala
siya?
yun?
Kumanta siya, di ba?
Yes.
But before that, nandoon siya sa baba. Siya ang nag-prepare ng pagkain natin with the help of Chinita dyan sa may DJ Chinita, yung kabisera.
Actually, si sa kabisera, before she got into catering and restaurant business, she even interviewed me also. May podcast siya din before. I love DJ Chinita. At saka si Tata, her voice is just very angelic. At saka nakita ko siya nung nagpe-prepare siya ng mga pagkain. Sabi kong gano'n na talagang, alam mo, sabi kong gano'n, malaking trabaho yun, di ba? Malaking trabaho yun. Tapos sabi kong gano'n, just organizing it and seeking sponsors. Pagkatapos yung mag-stage kayo ng
oh my gosh. Alam mo, sa lahat ng mga events, no? I started being part of the media at the age of 20. And syempre, pag sa media ka, maraming events. Mayroong patayan, may saksakan, may sunog, may kantahan, may conference, lahat nandyan. Pero sa lahat ng events, sabi ko nga, sa buhay ko, no, na na-organize namin, ito yung pinakamahirap. Kasi it involves a lot of people to manage. At syempre, kailangang ingatan mo ang mga tao na yan na baka ma-aksidente sila, mag-trip sila or whatever it is. But yun na nga, nakita nating lahat. It was a very successful fashion show.
At saka hindi lang yung Josie, like let's face it, like when you're dealing with a lot of people, you also deal with a lot of different personalities.
Oh yes.
Siyempre, hindi mo naman maaalis kahit pa paano. Merong mga hindi pagkakaunawaan, But at the same time, what puts you...
Tapos, pag hindi mo na pagbigyan, like for example, me, I have so many things going on in my mind.
Yeah.
Tapos pag ito pang aking face, medyo may RBF. Alam mo yung RBF? Sabi ng friend ko, resting bitch face.
Bago yan. May bago akong natutunan sa'yo. Oh my goodness. Alam ka, di ba, pag nakakatuliro, sabi kong gano'n na, yung ikaw nga, nagsusupervise ka na doon, kumbaga, kasi ba, ikaw na bang director, nandun na, you have to make sure that, people in the, na backstage, di ba? Yung nagkakaano sila, yung paano nagiging orderly. Ay, napakahirap, sabi ko nga. Tapos, at the same time, syempre yung minamanage mo din yung mga expenses, right? Para mas marami kayong manet, para mas marami kayong matulungan. Sabi kong gano'n, alam mo, sabi, very commendable. I really respect you for what you do. Matanong naman kita, not that you're
Teka muna, ano ba ito?
Tanong ko sa'yo, no? Paano ka ba nag-umpisa nitong Filipino American Cancer Care?
It all started with my book.
Oh, okay.
Kasi nung nakadiagnose ako ng breast cancer, it was year 2018. 10 days after my mastectomy, I decided to compile the articles that I have written sa Manila Mail newspaper na defunct na ngayon after 30 years dahil nga sa mga economic issues natin dito. So, I decided na sabi ko, ano bang gagawin ko ngayon after ng mastectomy ko? I'm so bored, I am the type of a person na mahilig talagang always busy, kailangan talagang may ginagawa ako. So I decided to compile kasi nga these are life experiences, survival and success stories of Filipinos in the United States. And then I said, alam mo, siguro ibibigay ko yung mga kita nito sa mga batang may cancer doon sa Pilipinas, especially in my hometown sa Iloilo City, Philippines. Because I've been doing, I've been doing a lot of charity dito sa Amerika na kahit wala ako, I do it every year for my birthday. For me, birthday is a celebration of life. Every day, we have to be appreciative. We have to be thankful for the gift of life. And we need to celebrate it. We need to celebrate it with a positive spirit, right? And also, we need to share our blessings. So yun ang nangyari, and I did not even expect that people and even the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C., would support me because all my intention is just to give up the proceeds. But remember, a lot of people nowadays, they're writing books every day. Siguro mga, I guess, millions ang, gumagawa or sumusulat ng libro. Now, in 5 sentences, you can write a book. Right? Nowadays, sabi nga nila, hindi mo kailangan ng pahabaan, hindi mo kailangan ng nobela. Kasi people, they don't have time to read a book. So in my case, I'm not talking about my life story. My intention is to inspire others. And then, yun na nga, ang dami palang gustong tumulong at magbigay ng support sa mga batang may cancer. And that started, no? Kasi sabi na asawa ko, you make sure that you're doing everything, you have, resibo and everything. And when I do my book events, I do it talagang may interaction. Hindi yung sasabihin ko sa iyo na bumili ka sa Amazon kasi Filipinos, not all of them, but some of them will never buy your book pag sinabi mo sa Amazon. Alam mo kung bakit? Mas gusto nilang mag-shopping. So, yun ang nangyari. Anyway, you asked me about my book. Now, let me ask you about your book.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So, I started writing actually when, with my first disability with the pulmonary. And so during that time that I was gravely ill, I remember saying to myself, I want to make sure that I make my mess my message. And so I started to write. And so that was one of the, I co-authored a book called Empowering Transformations for Women. And then after that, a year later, somebody had asked me to actually create a whole big chapter on Bling. That's Bling is Boldly Living in Natural Greatness, because the name of the book is Pure Genius. And so I co-authored that book. And then the third one is actually Women Innovators. This is all about women empowerment. I made the cover of the book, and basically I wrote about resilience, my zone of genius being resilience. And then another book.
Resilient, is that because of your cancer diagnosis?
Not only that. When I talk about resilience, I talk about the different adversities I've had in my life, the different adversities. So one of them obviously is, me having been divorced. Then there's also the time that I was widowed to pancreatic cancer within 8 months of my wedding day.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me ask you about this before we continue about your book. So, yung dati mong husband?
Okay, let me clarify. Okay, I was married to a man before.
Okay.
Who I ended up divorcing after 11 years. I've been divorced from him almost 30 years now. And then, of course, when I found love again, I found love with a woman, also a Filipino, and who actually happens to be a high school schoolmate in UST, but we never really got together at that time, but we reconnected here in the US, and I ended up marrying her. Unfortunately, I lost her to pancreatic cancer within 8 months of our wedding day. That was in 2009.
Oh.
Yep. It was very sad because it happened very fast. You know how it is.
So you reconnected with her, no?
Yeah, like a schoolmate, a batchmate, so to speak, actually connected us back in 2008. And and so it's quite interesting because when we got connected, I was neither one of us wanted to actually be in a relationship because we felt that it was going too fast. But pero alam mo, I think God has a different purpose at that particular time, because who would have known that just a few months after that she was going to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I guess things started to fall very beautifully into place and so easily. Siguro plan na ng Diyos. Like, God planned for us to be together so that she could have somebody to be with her during a very, very challenging time of her life. And I'm glad that I was there for her. It was very tragic. It was, it's very heartbreaking to have lost a loved one when you just basically just got married, right? And so I guess I never stopped believing in love. And as a matter of fact, there's a book that I'm looking to actually also write called My Dead Spouse is My Cupid, because I am very happily married now for 11 years to Christine Cipriano. She's half Italian, half Polish. And I truly believe that she is my healing angel. Because if
Do you
not,
have kids, by the way?
I have one child from my previous marriage. She's actually 29 years old now, and she's going to be getting married in July. So yeah, so only one child, and and I have a very good relationship with her, and it's wonderful when she understands the Filipino values, even if she was born and raised here. Yeah. So anyway, as I've said, like, I'm very happily married now, and
I'm very curious about your second partner, no, na namatay sa pancreatic cancer. Nung nag-reconnect ba kayong dalawa, nalaman mo na meron na siyang sakit?
wala. Actually, the sad part about that, Josie, is that she doesn't go to doctors. I never understood that, because actually her partner prior to me was actually a nurse, but for some reason she doesn't go to doctors, and so during the time that she was with me, I was wondering why she would not go for, like, for example, physical. She's not even been to an OBGYN. And so, and at the time she was already in her 40s, right? And so
Well, she was very young.
she died at 48. And she actually died on her birthday. On her birthday, can you believe that? So anyway, what happened is that one day she was complaining of very big stomach pain. We went to a christening. And tapos alam mo yung the beer, yung Corona, right? Like yung has a small neck to it. She actually drank a little bit from the neck of that Corona beer, and she went into an excruciating pain. Akala namin na impacho lang, because we were at the party, she probably ate a lot, we were thinking. But of course, we went to buy Maalox and all that, but it did not relieve her. And so the following morning, I took her to a doctor, and actually the doctor was not available, so she was seen by a nurse practitioner who actually just diagnosed her with muscular spasm. I challenged that diagnosis because I said, I am a clinician. I know what what a regular muscular spasm is, as opposed to something with an excruciating pain to the point of practically, wanting to throw up from the pain.
Yes.
So, and then of course I made an appointment to see a gastroenterologist the following day, who ordered a CAT scan. And when they did the CAT scan, the following day we were called right away to the office. And then I remember that day very, very clearly. When we were there, she was sitting in the usual examination table. The doctor just stood there leaning on a table. I was the one sitting in a chair right there. And then he said, we're looking at something very serious here. We're looking at a 4.3 centimeter tumor on the pancreas. I'm telling you, my knees started to shake. I was the one who was shaking. And because the only thing that was going on in my mind at the time was Patrick Swayze, who had pancreatic
Yes.
cancer. I said, oh, because I know that that's like a very grave disease, right? And so he said that I need you to contact a surgeon right away. And so we contacted a surgeon, and I'm telling you, from that point on, it went very fast. Basically, she was gone. So after 3 big surgeries, and she never, by the way, when she went to the hospital in St. Barnabas in Livingston, where she was also working as a pharmacy tech, she never made it home. So basically, she stayed in the hospital in ICU for over 3 months, 3 months and 1 day. And I was there every day of the week. And except that they don't allow overnight stayers in ICU.
Yes.
So basically, I was, and you know what's very interesting at that time, Josie? I actually was laid off from my pharmaceutical sales job at the time that she was diagnosed. So, in a way, it was a blessing in disguise because it allowed me to spend time with
Time
her.
with her.
Right? Kung minsan ngayon, you know, like when you think about it, like, oh, you think like, oh my, you're going to be heartbroken, you lost a job, blah, blah, blah. But then again, when you look at it on hindsight, you realize it was actually God intervening so that I could be made available. I could make
Yes.
myself available for
So
her.
you were able to spend some time with her. So ano naman yung mga sinabi niya sa'yo
Actually, she
before
was,
she passed away?
alam mo, hindi na siya nakapagsalita kasi nung ano pa yan, here's another thing, nung nag-ano siya, magpapa-opera. I guess, alam mo, even if okay, this is the best way I can share this. Sa kanya siguro, ignorance is bliss. Ayaw niyang malaman kung what goes on, anong prognosis and all that. In the meantime, of course, I was the one researching. So, hindi ko, ngalgal ako ng ngalgal. Yeah, I was like really crying all the time. And then I remember at night, when I would try to hold my tears, she would feel my body shaking because I am crying. And she said, I need you to be strong for both of us. And so at that particular time, so she said, oh, okay, we're going to go for surgery. And then she did not even want to sign the advance directive and living will. And I think, I'm not sure if it's because she doesn't want it to get to the point, but in reality, I would advise everyone to please have an advance directive and living will, because you put the burden on your loved one to make the decision on your life or death. It's very, it's scary. It's it's very concerning, and you're also not sure whether, like, oh my God, now her life is on my hands. You know what I'm saying? So after that, after her first surgery, actually she was either always intubated or always in a coma. And so from the time that she was wheeled to the operating room, I never got to talk to her ever again in the next 3 months. However, I could tell from the way she was looking at me, she would look at me almost like, why are you still here taking care of me? Like, it's almost like she was in a way pushing me away. And I said to her, don't give me that look, because I am not going anywhere. And I said, I will fight with you for as long as you want me to. And then there came a point in time that, I had to let her go, because, after the third surgery, they said there's nothing more that they can do. I remember saying to her, and believe me, in front of her, I did not want to cry, because I didn't want her to see me tearing apart. But every time I would drive home, I would just, my God, I would just cry myself, till I get home. And then, like, every time that I was in bed, I had the phone next to me, because the hospital could be calling me at wee hours, and it's always scary to hear that phone ring at ungodly hours, right?
Wow.
And so there came a point in time, and I said to her, I don't want you to worry about me. I will be okay. If you feel like you want to go and and be relieved of this, it's okay. I will be fine. And so I think that's what that there was a song that I wrote. Look, I'm trying not to get emotional here, but there was a song that I wrote based on that experience, and it's called "Sleep, Sweet Angel, Dear."
Okay.
And it's all about like I remember some parts of the songs like, in this cold dark room I'm filled with so much gloom, watching you waste away, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. Is it more time with you I gain, or am I prolonging your pain? And then, sleep, sweet angel dear, sleep, sweet angel dear, in my heart you always will be near. So it was a song that I wrote about learning to let go and let God.
And moving on.
And at that time, you're not thinking about like moving on, because at that,
Well,
you
you're
know,
grieving.
I'm saying like letting go of, letting them go.
Mm-hmm.
But the moving on came obviously later in life, because I truly believe that when at those moments when I really was stricken with so much grief, and to the point that I would actually sleep with the ashes next to me in bed.
Mm.
I would talk to the ashes as though it's a person. I say like, you see, I'll never find anyone quite like you, blah blah blah, right? And then I realized that at some point in my life, because that would be actually a whole different show, because it was so interesting how I ended up meeting my current spouse. And so, and I truly believe that my dead spouse actually chose Christine to be with me. And that's why one of the books that I am going to write, it's a small ebook, is actually
Yeah. Now, going back sa libro, no? Going back to your book, yung second partner mo, was she the one who inspired you to write a book?
She was the one who inspired me to write, period. So basically, from the time that di ba yung first book nga about my pulmonary, but then again, I actually started to write the books actually after she passed. Because so yung inspiration ko to start writing books was it all started talaga when she passed. And then tapos tuloy-tuloy na, kaya lang ang nangyari na ngayon, parang na-awaken na ako to what I needed to be in life, to teach people, to empower people to choose to be resilient, to choose to step into their higher calling in life despite the tragedies. Kasi when something happens in our lives, right? Things do not happen to us. They happen for us to be able to open our minds and our hearts into realizing what our higher purpose in life is. And so it allows us to expand. It allows us to search for that legacy that we would like to create in this world. Like, look at you. You are creating a legacy with your Filipino American Cancer Care, because you are touching so many lives. So that is a legacy that nobody can take away from you.
Yeah.
And so in my case, my zone of genius is resilience. Actually, like you invited me here because when I went to the fashion show, I actually gave you a magazine, right?
Yes.
Right.
And then I took it with me.
Right.
And I read
this magazine.
everything.
Okay. This
Yes.
is actually a hospital magazine called Healthy Together. It's a hospital magazine that went to thousands of homes in Monmouth and Ocean County. And also it was in the hospital lobbies and waiting rooms. Anyway, they shared my inspiring story, and basically they called me a voice of hope and resilience. And they also featured my oncologist and my breast surgeon right in here. And that basically is a little bit of a background on what my story is all about. Every step of the way, I put myself out there to share the different choices that I had to make. You had cancer, right? And so what had happened is that, like, what your choice was well, okay, you said you were getting bored, right? So you started to compile all of the writings that you made. So
Wait a minute. What was it like for you when you found out that you have a cancer or breast cancer? You were diagnosed with breast
Right.
cancer.
yeah, okay. It was very, very interesting because, first of all, I did not know of any symptoms because I did not feel anything. I did not have any lump. So mine was actually found with regular mammography. All right. And so when, like, they said, oh, there's something that we want to observe. 6 months later, well, let's check it again. It looks the same. 6 months, they said, come back in 6 months. But COVID happened. I did not go for another routine mammo in that 6 months. And so after I went back after a year, they tested it again, and they said that they found that it increased in number. It was called what you call microcalcification. So there's no lump, and these are just powdery particles that this.
Oh, you have a calcification. Katulad ko, yes, it's a calcium deposit.
Yes,
Most
yes.
of the time, itong calcium deposit na to or calcification, ano yan siya, benign. But, alam mo kung ano natutunan ko dito? Ibig sabihin na kung ang benign ay benign, benign forever.
Well, mine was not.
And mine was not too, because for so many years, I always have benign, benign, benign. And I got used to the word benign. And then suddenly, bing, you
Yeah.
have a cancer. Kasi iba ang shape niya. It's
Oh.
something very tiny. Maliit na
Yeah.
yan. As we age, nagkakaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na calcium deposit. And that's calcification.
Yeah. Actually, Josie, what's very interesting about that, kasi pag nakita mo sa mammogram, no, para siyang mga sabog na mga powdered white particles, right? Sabi ng breast surgeon ko, it's actually something that they're not concerned about kung sabog-sabog, because it's just like debris that the body is sleeping. But when you see those calcium deposits form a line, that is when they are concerned, because that means it is already in the duct.
Yes,
So
that's right.
So anyway, so obviously both of us had like malignant invasive ductal carcinoma. So obviously I was sent for MRI, and when I did not the MRI, the stereotactic biopsy.
Yes.
And so Christine and I, my spouse, were actually in the office of Dr. Chen, and then she says, Furley, it is cancer. Of course, our natural reaction is to cry, right? And so I shed a tear, but I bombarded her with a lot of questions. My spouse was asking me, like, how can you have such a clear mind to ask so many questions? But I asked as many questions as I could at that particular moment. And then I said to her, Doc, how much downtime are we looking here? Because I have a very busy 2022.
Okay.
And she started to laugh and she said, I love how positively distracted you are, because 90% of your healing will come from positivity. And so, like a month later, I had the double mastectomy, and then after that, a month later, I started my chemo for 12 weeks, and then I had the breast reconstruction, and then I continued, by the way, simultaneously with my chemo. I also had immunotherapy because of the nature of my my cancer. So
Yeah.
Did you have the same thing?
I have, I am under hormone therapy. I have a lot of surgeries. Ito yung masasabi ko ha. Diba sa'yo, early diagnosis, right? Sa akin din, early diagnosis. But here's the thing. No matter what, the stages, ha?
Right.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pareho lang yung treatment na yan. At saka yung ano na yan, yung mga maintenance. Kung anong tinitake ng stage 3 or stage 2 na cancer patient, ganun din sa atin, 'di ba? It
Um,
depends though sa age mo, right? In my
Actually,
case,
I beg to differ kasi una ang treatment nila depende sa
yeah.
staging at saka
Mhm.
yung size ng tumor and also the
Mhm.
nature.
Kung merong treatment na aggressive,
May
depende nga sa case mo. But what I'm saying
depende.
is that everyone will go through a process in
Yes,
terms of
iba-iba lang ang treatment
treatments.
natin.
Yes.
Alam mo, Josie, maswerte nga tayo dahil sabi nga, I remember my doctor was telling me, if you were diagnosed 15 years ago, the prognosis will not be good.
Of course.
But because of the advancements of science and technology, curable na ngayon, di ba? Kaya you have to go, just like what you said, you have to go through the process, either chemo, radiation, surgeries, immunotherapy, hormone therapy. Marami yan, iba-ibang klase. Pero you have to go through, I mean like, you just have to keep a healthy mindset that, you know, you have to be open to the treatment. Kasi you can't resist it. Kasi pag lalabanan mo, right? Pag
Okay,
lalabanan
yeah.
tapos yung pag-iisip mo at saka madidepress ka pa, hindi nakakatulong yung depression eh. Di ba?
That's right. That's
Kaya
right.
maganda yung ginawa mo din na para bang you kept yourself occupied and you actually created something so magnificent, so powerful that look at you now. Ngayon isipin mo because of your journey, ang dami natutulungan. How admirable is that? Nako talaga, alam mo marami ka talaga, biyaya ka talaga. You are such a blessing to so many lives. I am so proud of you.
Okay. Now, we have 8 minutes on our radio show.
Oras, no?
Ang galing, ano? Hindi pa kita napakanta. Gusto ko pa namang marinig yung boses mo. So, anyway.
You can always have me back, you know.
Of course, meron pa tayong second round. Alam mo yan. Tatawagan kita.
Oba. Anytime. Basta
Of
ikaw.
course, because I really love talking to you. And I guess it's because I learned so much from you at yung ating mga listeners, viewers, marami kang mga ideas at mga you can inspire them with your stories, with your experience. By the way, kung nakikita mo, masyadong pula yung aking cheeks.
Bakit
Ito
yan?
yung epekto nga ng treatment. Oh my gosh.
Naging rosy cheeks ka.
Oo, sa yan, sa mga hormones natin, 'di ba? Now, my last question for you.
Yes.
What was the impact of cancer on you, and what has cancer taught you?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, first of all, I stopped procrastinating.
Of course. And you know what? Yan ang sinasabi ko. I love that word, but at the same time, we have to stop that.
Kasi yung ang tawag nito, you realize that the tomorrow is never promised.
That's right.
Like kasi cancer does not discriminate.
That's right. It
And so-
doesn't care about time.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't care who you are. Kung sino ka man, mayaman, mahirap, doktor, o kung ano ka man dyan. Ano man ang estado mo sa buhay.
Exactly. Yan, sabi kong ganun, you know what? I have accomplished so much during this time that I was going through treatment. Sabi ng ganun na, Furley, you don't stop. I said like, why should I? First of all, we are not our disease. We are not our diagnosis. Just because we were diagnosed with cancer does not mean that becomes our identity. But what I have learned is that it inspired me to take action now.
Yes. And you don't have to wait for tomorrow. Alam mo, yan din ang aking natutunan sa organization na to. I wanna get things done on time. Kasi, I was trained to work and with the deadlines. Hindi pwedeng bukas na lang. Kasi nga, buhay at oras ng tao ang kalaban ko dito. Kahit sabihin mong, this is voluntary. But think about it, if you can do it now, why wait for tomorrow? And
Exactly.
some people don't like that. Kasi alam mo sa culture nating Filipino, ay, bukas na lang yan. Huwag masyadong ganito,
Wala na
ganyan.
habit.
Di ba?
Habit. Alam mo, minsan pati, napansin ko, pag alam mong, merong time crunch ka, at saka yung alam mo may deadline ka, mas mabilis mong na-accomplish kasi focused ka eh.
Yes.
Pero, at saka kasi nagkaroon ka na ng purpose eh. Diba? So, ang very
Motivated ka.
talagang ka ba, talagang ikaw hindi ka na hindi ka nagpapatumpik-tumpik, di ba? Ganun na.
That's right.
Yeah, so that is what I've learned is that I get things done now.
Which is a good thing, di ba?
Yes.
And you accomplish a lot of things and you made a big impact, a good impact. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing your story, your ideas, and of course, yung experience mo as a breast cancer survivor. And I'm looking forward to interviewing you again. Kasi marami pa tayong pag-uusapan. Lastly na lang ha, we have 4 minutes. What would you like to tell everyone?
Actually, like as a
3 minutes na lang pala.
Okay. So as a life coach, okay, I'm a certified life coach as well. Actually, I always tell people 3 things. First, make a decision in your life. Okay, life is all about choices. Make a decision, and then what you should do is basically take action. Okay, so actually make a decision, and then actually number 2, surround yourself with people who lift you up. Don't get caught up in drama. You know what I'm saying? Like, walang negativity. Surround yourself with positive people who share the same values as you do and who also get your mission in life so they can support your goals and your dreams. And take massive inspired action. Because, when you say, like you have all of these wishes, you have a lot of ideas, but you don't take action. An idea without action is just a wish. Always remember that. So make a decision. If you're not happy with your life, with what's happening in your life, make a change and make a decision on that. Surround yourself with people who are positive and will support your goals, and take massive inspired action. And by the way, also learn to be grateful. Count your blessings. Remember, if you're on the right side of the grass, you have every reason to be grateful for every single time. That is a very big reason to be grateful for.
Thank you so much, Ferlie Almonte. Siya po yung ating special guest ngayong gabi dito sa ating radio show On the Air with FACC. And next week or in the next 2 weeks po, babalik kami dito with Emmy Rich and Jill Lasaka. Again, thank you so much, and hopefully makakasama natin uli si Ferlie dito po. Oh, Ferlie, mayroon pang 1 minute. Can you give us, sample lang ng kanta, sabi ko nga sa'yo I will survive.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. You're thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how wrong, and I grew strong. And now I saw I get along, and so you're back. From
I will survive. Hindi ako
I don't even know the lyrics. I will survive for as long as I know how to love. I know I stay alive. I got all my life to live. I got all my love to give. I will survive. I will survive. Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. I will survive. Oh, may palakpak tayo.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah, pinalakpakan niya tayo.
This was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so very much, and also for our invisible producer.
Si Mr. Johan. Thank you so much, Mr. Johan, for being with us dito po sa ating radio show On the Air with FACC, PHLV Radio in Las Vegas. Thank you and good night, everyone. Bye.
The Filipino American Cancer Care has just brought you On the Air with FACC, tributes and support to those impacted by cancer. On the Air with FACC, the Filipino American Cancer Care on PHLV Radio.